Overtime.
Over the past year I've been having a lot of fun with Overwatch 2, and over that time I've gathered a lot of thoughts about the game. I already made a video giving my general consensus, but now's the time for cleanup. See, I've got this thing. I can't rest until I know people have heard my thoughts on certain topics. It's an illness I got growing up with the internet. Okay, thoughts about Overwatch 2. Mostly negative, because it's YouTube, and we're all vultures. Let's go. Tracer's a bit shit. Tracer has always been the mascot for the game, which makes sense, as she is very visually striking, unique, and, let's face it, one of the only truly original characters in the roster. I still remember when I was, 11? 12? Jesus, time flies. Watching one of those amazing animated shorts they made, and I mean amazing. Remember that one where the robot had PTSD? That was fucking art. But I remember watching Tracer, and she was fast and quippy, and her guns made that sound. And I thought, wow, she's cool and hot. What a great combination. They should bring more people like this. So, naturally, she was the first character I wanted to play. And what a letdown that was. Don't get me wrong, she's still cool and her time travel abilities still stand out to everything else in the game, but she's really difficult to be good as. All this time I've gotten like one good play of the game, so here it is. Cool, right? Now I'm sure there are basement dwellers that can clean lobby as her, but for us normal people, the only way to truly shine as Tracer is to find an awful enemy team. I mean, what is that ultimate attack? You've got a character who plays with the boundaries of time itself, and her grand attack is a small bomb with a 3-foot radius that even if landed perfectly is not a guaranteed kill. Whose idea was this? Come out, I just want to talk. It's made worse because, look, Tracer, I know you're a lesbian, but you throw like a girl. On controller, the default aim assist makes Widowmaker borderline unplayable, so I had to go into the settings and tweak it. Developers, do I look like a mechanic to you? The soundtrack is fantastic. I've always been a sucker for hero music. You know, when the horns start to blare and everything gets dramatic as all hell because it's time to save the world? I love that main theme, though I'm pretty sure at least part of it isn't even in the game. Getting a play of the game is always exciting because everyone gets to see your amazing handiwork, but when the music comes in, it's so good you'll believe what you did was genuinely incredible, even if it's terrible. For years, people have been asking for an Overwatch movie. You've got such great characters, such a great art style, why not make a movie? I think an Overwatch movie would be great, based off the music alone. Speaking of which, wasn't Tracer already in a movie? Spielberg's Ready Player One, yeah. I mean, that was basically Cameo the movie, but there was some Overwatch stuff in there, which is cool. I completely forgot about that film. Okay, my next big point. Why is this game so sexy? You chose an art style commonly associated with children's animation, and then you had cake for days. What's up with that? I'm not complaining, I just think it's a bit odd. I mean, it's not like they're shoving arse in your face. Until they do. Yeah, there's a few animations here that you can't watch without thinking they knew damn well what they were doing. Wait. Play that clip again? Where have I seen that before? Oh yeah, there it is. Early on, they had to remove one of Tracer's victory poses because it was receiving criticism for being pretty much just arse. Blizzard, are these poor women being vacuum sealed into their supersuits? Because it looks like it. It's not all arse either. Whenever the player selects Flower Boy, he eyes you up, which I really wish he didn't do. I prefer being comfortable in my sexuality. And believe it or not, Overwatch is competing with Tomb Raider to be the game that makes people reach for the volume fastest. Seriously, listen to this. I'm sorry, are you gonna stop moaning at some point? Okay, what I'm saying is that Overwatch not being a third-person game is the worst financial decision ever made. One of my biggest issues with Overwatch 2 is that having fun and winning are kind of two separate things. I've previously said that all characters are viable options, and that is true. You can play any character in any mode and do well, but you can't necessarily do well enough. Widowmaker is a fantastic example. She's a lot of fun to play as, but she's not very effective. The majority of the other characters almost completely cancel her out. On the other hand, Mercy. One of my most played characters is Mercy, but Mercy's not a lot of fun to play as. She's got what I like to call sleepwalk gameplay. It's so simple, it's very hard to remain engaged. So why do I play as her? Because winning is fun. And assuming you have a tank worth healing, Mercy can be the difference between winning or losing. Back to Widowmaker, unlike Mercy, she is fun to play, and I'll often start a game as Widowmaker hoping for some fun sniping action, immediately get steamrolled, and switch to Mercy. Sometimes I'll start a game and I'll say, okay, it doesn't matter if I win, I'm just gonna play Widowmaker, Tracer, Cassidy, etc., and have fun, but that often doesn't last. Because Widowmaker is such an annoying presence, but also such an easy problem to fix. All the enemy team needs is a competent Sombra, and Widowmaker is basically useless. Anyway, I believe this is what gamers would call poorly balanced. Okay, some quick-fire thoughts before the finale. The character Cassidy was originally called McCree, but they changed his name because he was named after one of the developers who was a part of that whole sexual assault lawsuit. I just thought that was interesting. I really like Winston. I never play as him, but he's such a wholesome guy, I just love him. Sometimes I'm having a bad day, then I look at Winston, and I'm like, monkey. The voice acting is pretty solid. Overall, I would say there isn't a bad performance in here, but there are some odd choices. Particularly Diva, she's so high-pitched that listening to her is very annoying.
Time to save the world? Game on!
And it makes her sound like she's 8, which I don't think was the intention. If you spooner the name Lifeweaver, you get Wife Leaver, which I think is funny considering there's already a character called Widowmaker. In order to achieve Overwatch's bouncy animated look, the animators use quite an interesting technique. The characters are actually stretched and morphed in individual frames, kind of like an old school cartoon. This is cool and really clever, but it does result in some nightmare frames. Like this. What the fuck is this? Okay, this is it. Big final thought. I'm about to go off. You ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Developers have always cleverly coded their games to optimize your experience. That time you finished a fight with 1 HP was likely not luck. You knew this, right? This isn't like me telling you that Santa isn't real. Though I would never say that because he absolutely is real. Basically, to ensure that you have the most addictive gameplay loop and keep coming back, the devs decide when you win or lose. This is quite an accusation, especially considering I can't prove it, but it's so unapologetically obvious. Everyone has good and bad days, right? Sometimes you're playing amazing, sometimes you're just not feeling it. I never have that with Overwatch. What I do have is win streaks and lose streaks, which feel suspiciously routine. It's like a seesaw. You win a few games in a row, now you lose a few games in a row. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It does this by placing you against an enemy team that's clearly above your skill level, or with an allied team that's clearly below your skill level, and the opposites if it wants you to win. And you know what? It works. You get to win, but not so often that it becomes boring, creating a perfectly addictive gameplay loop. But, for one, it's annoying, especially if you're having a bad day and just want to have some fun, only to find that the game's decided you'll be losing for the next half an hour. And, for two, it's kind of disheartening. The whole point of a video game is that you're in control. Whether you win or lose is based off your performance. So when you realize your outcome has pretty much been predetermined by some code, it, ruins the magic. Thought's over. I'm done. Thank you for listening. If you haven't seen it, I've got another video on Overwatch 2, and if you have seen it, thank you so much for the support. 200 likes and no dislikes. What am I, Jesus? Consider sticking around. Bye.